Hello everybody, here's Thomas once again. This time responding to Colins' new video in which he spoke about Muhammad's Satan's disciple or his relationship with Gabriel or Jibril, etc. Was he possessed or other related subjects? I will point out few facts for Muslims in general and Colins in particular, as he seems to make some random claims which has no basis in the history. Colins made an interesting claim. He said when Muhammad received his first revelation from God, he got scared and he came down from the cave and went to his wife, and subsequently his wife took him to Warqa bin Nawfal, the cousin of his wife Khatija, and a Christian, who said, Muhammad, don't worry, it was Gabriel. Now it's amazing, right, that Muhammad, the so-called last and mighty prophet of Allah, did not know that the guy he just met was a Gabriel, an angel, where his wife's cousin knew about him. Did Allah inform him, the cousin of his wife Warqa, earlier than Muhammad? One other interesting thing is that in Quran Allah mentioned different creations like humans, jinns and angels, etc. They are all different creations and made differently. Hence in the story of Muhammad meeting with Gabriel, we see the fascinating thing that Gabriel actually grabbed Muhammad and squeezed him so hard that Muhammad could not breathe for a while. Now if angels are of a different nature and if we humans cannot see them, how can this Gabriel angel, how could angel Gabriel was able to squeeze Muhammad physically? What was going on there? Muhammad got suicidal, and there's no doubt about it. Mr. Colins tried to imply that it was not the case. However, he has no case to defend. Quran mentioned this situation in multiple places, and I will quote for him some Quranic verses and then some hadiths later on. Before I quote them, it's important to note that jinns had some sort of contact with Muhammad, as they used to listen Quran from Muhammad, and some of them actually became Muslims according to Quran, while others remained non-believers. Is it possible these non-believers jinn tried to harm Muhammad? Let's see first the Muhammad suicidal attempts from Quran. In Surah 18, the Al-Kahf verses 6 said, and I quote, then maybe you will kill yourself with grief, sorrowing after them, if they do not believe in this announcement. Here Allah is assuring Muhammad that I know that there is a chance that you may kill yourself. Now important point is to note that Allah is not even sure himself. How can Allah, who knows supposedly everything, using words like you may kill yourself? It's clear from this incident that it was Muhammad who was himself making such things and thinking that this verse is simply a reflection of his own thoughts or mental situation, where he had problem accepting what is going on around him. Certainly an all-knowing God will never use such words. Then we have verses chapter 26 verse 3, which says the amazing verse was, perhaps you will kill yourself with grief because they do not believe. Amazing, right? Allah is telling Muhammad that, hey, I even not sure what is going on with you, perhaps you will kill yourself with grief. I mean, come on, give us a break. What is going on here? Why Muhammad was so depressed, and what was the reason? If it is not the case of Muhammad not believing Gabriel, or his people are laughing on him, does not give Muhammad a reason to kill himself. A messenger of God should not act like this way. It shows clearly that Muhammad had difficult time even to believe himself. One more misquotation from Mr. Colins came when he wrote a comment on the video, and I quote, he said, I did look it up. I own Sahi Bukhari, all 9 volumes, sir, and you are a liar. There is not a single hadith in the chapter 1 of volume 9 that says Muhammad thought he was possessed by a jinn and wanted to kill himself. Do more research. Well, I think Mr. Colins, you forgot just to mention this hadith from Sahi Bukhari. It's a long hadith, so I will read the appropriate passage where Muhammad was mentioning his mental situation. It is volume 9, book 87, number 111. Proof of Muhammad's suicidal attempts from Sahi Bukhari. It says, and I quote, but after a few days Warqa died, and the divine inspiration was also paused for a while, and the Prophet became so sad, as we have heard, that he intended several times to throw himself from the top of the highest mountains, and every time he went up the top of a mountain in order to throw himself down, Gabriel would appear before him and say, O Muhammad, You are indeed Allah's apostle in truth. Whereupon his heart would become quiet and he would calm down and would return home. End of the quote. Well, now we can analyze the mental picture of Muhammad here. Was he mentally depressed, or more importantly, why people have tendencies to kill themselves, and what was Muhammad thinking? If you go on in internet, there are some very good websites I found, and let me quote one for you. Question: why people kill themselves? Answer: most of the time people who kill themselves are very sick with depression or one of the other types of the depressive illness, which occur when the chemicals in the person's brain get out of balance or become disrupt in some way. Healthy people do not kill themselves. A person who has depression does not think like a typical person who is feeling good. Their illnesses prevents them from being able to look forward to anything. They can only think about now and have lost the ability to imagine into the future. Many times they don't realize that they are suffering from a terrible illness and they feel they can't be help seeking. Help may not even enter their mind. They do not think of the people around them, family or friends, because of their illness. They are consumed with emotional and many times physical pain that becomes unbearable. They don't see any way out. They feel hopeless and helpless. They don't want to die, but it is the only way they feel their pain will end. It is a non-rational choice. So think about it. The great mighty Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, thinking to commit suicide does not add up with his so-called status which Muslims generally and proudly present to the world. He was a superstitious man from 7 CE, and it was very easy for someone like him to take any unusual thing as a sign, think that it was revealed from the Lord Almighty. Then Colins made another claim that Muhammad learned how to offer praise in his very first contact with Gabriel. Wrong. We know Muhammad had to go to the heaven long time later in order to get such information. He was not even sure he was seeing someone from Lord, as the history shows that he did not accept it and he was scared. Mr. Colins, if he knew that Gabriel is from God and if Gabriel was teaching him how to pray, then there is no reason for Muhammad to act like this way. The story of yours is contradictory and not true. If you see the general picture of Muhammad's mind, it is very easy to notice that it was very easy for Satan to mislead him. He was a superstitious man and believed in all sorts of things. How would Muslims will tell the world that he was not inspired by Satan if indeed he was? Is there any way for them to prove that? They go and say it's in the Quran, and Quran says Muhammad was inspired by God. If Satan was the author of the Quran, then this argument is useless. And by the way, it's a logical fallacy where you run in the circles of your own. Quran proves Muhammad is a messenger of Allah, and it was Muhammad who was supposedly telling all these stories in the Quran. One thing came in my mind earlier, the matter of Muhammad being poisoned or not. It came up in the discussion earlier, and generally Muslim says Muhammad did not die due to poison. I remember once Colins also said that Muhammad did not die with the poison or effect of the poison because he was poisoned supposedly 4 years earlier than where he died 4 years later. Okay. But Colins can read the medical books and research today on internet. It is possible that someone get poisoned and died much later because of its effects. I give you a hadith from Sahi Bukhari, which is, by the way, self-explanatory. Sahi Bukhari, volume 5, book 59, number 713. Ibn Abbas replied, that indicate the death of Allah's apostle which Allah informed him of. Umar said, I do not understand of it except what you understand. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet in his ailment in which he died used to say, Oh Aisha, I still feel the pain caused by the food I ate at Khaybar, and at that time I feel as if my aorta is being cut from that poison. End of the quote. Now point is that to know that here Muhammad, who used to say that whoever eats 7 ajwa dates would not be affected by the effect of poison and magic, failed to take his own advice and affected with poison. So does it mean that he was not even sure what he was saying earlier? Or he found out later that his superstitious beliefs were wrong, as even after eating dates, which he used to do, did not help him, and he was poisoned, and it was so bad that years after even his on deathbed he felt that pain caused by that poison. Not a good thing to read from Muslims. Thank you very much for listening, and peace be with you all.